You're watching Camnet News. Thank you so much for choosing us. My name is Sharon Kalimbula. The top stories on our desk this evening: Patriotic Front Secretary General Davis MWILA steps down to focus on farming. UPND justifies the appointment of FANWELL SIANDENGE as Deputy Police IG for special duties. Government urged to look into the plight of local contractors. In international news, economic pandemic overshadow Morocco's election campaigns. And in sports news, BESTON CHAMBESHI confident the boys will perform well in the Tuesday encounter.
The Camnet October Conference is fast approaching. To participate in the forthcoming conference, you're required to book your seat by paying 750 kwacha per person per day. Date 1st and 2nd October 2021. Venue the Healing Word Ministries International in Ibex Hill. Guest speakers include Professor Reda, Professor Mukumba, Mr. Nkuruma Kalaluka, Dr. Musonda, Dr. Sitima, Anthony from USA, Dr. Mwale, Honorable Bob Sichinga, Elias Bondela, and your hosts, Pastors Victoria and Moses Chiluba.
You can also participate via Zoom at 300 kwacha per day.
Make your payments through mobile money for MTN 096 296 5883, for Airtel 097 975 3010. Our banking details are 913 000 182 5325, Stanbic Bank, Kablonga branch.
For those living abroad, make payments via Wild Remit. The deadline for payments will be 28 September 2021. Any late payment made after 28 September will attract a penalty fee of 200 kwacha per person.
Once again, thank you for joining us. The Zambian Association of Citizen Contractors has urged government to look into the plight of local contractors by empowering them with equipment and financing projects. In an exclusive interview with Camnet TV, Zaki President Mutale Mpepo has revealed that local contractors experience a number of challenges, especially with equipment and accessing funding. Mr. Mpepo has since demanded that a proper financing structure should be set up, such as a bank of construction that will specifically deal with financing projects across the country. Alex Chishimba has the details in this report.
The construction industry has been one of the fastest growing industries in Zambia since 2010, recording an average contribution of about 9.9% of national gross domestic product (GDP). In order to enhance the capacities and participation of local contractors in construction sector, government in 2012 introduced a 20% mandatory subcontracting policy. However, most of the local contractors have had complaints on the operation and implementation of the policy. Following the current government's pledge to empower the locals in all sectors, the Zambian Association of Citizen Contractors President Mutale Mpepo has called on the government to look into the plight of the local contractors, saying a proper financing scheme is needed.
Welcome, President Hakainde Hichilema. Please look into the plight of the local contractors. Let's find something like a construction bank, for instance, which can deal specifically with the construction works, where they can understand that a contractor is supposed to be paying after a certain period of time. Not where you get the loan today, then after 5 days they start expecting you to start paying before you even mobilize. You know, that is what disadvantages a local contractor. Let us look into construction bank. I think it's a way to sort out this issue.
Mr. Mpepo has reviewed the major challenges that the local contractors face in the country and suggest ways of addressing them.
Do not just come from outside and start working and you take money out. Partner with the locals. And let's make sure that the locals are involved, not just fronting. We want real participation so that the money remains within the country. There are a lot of also laws that are also encouraging JVs, joint ventures. Those should also be enforced. That will mean money also remaining in the country.
A number of projects across the country failed to see the light of day, and this has been attributed mostly to inadequate financial and technical capacity among local contractors. Alex Shimba, Camnet News, Lusaka.
The Financial Intelligence Center, FIC, has revealed that it has recorded suspicious cash deposit of 8.6 billion kwacha and cash withdrawals of 8.5 billion kwacha from January 2021 to date. Speaking during the Sunday interview on the national broadcaster, FIC Director Ms. Mary Chira also says the center was sanctioned reporting entities such as car dealers, casinos and real estate companies who have not been reporting suspicious individuals who have been spending colossal sums of money at these places as directed by the law. The FIC director has also called on the United Party for National Development Government to strengthen law enforcement agencies in the country to ensure that the investigations are concluded and perpetrators are brought before the courts of law, unlike what has been in the past trend where investigations do not see the day of light. Details on this.
Named individuals in the country have allegedly been stuffing their bank accounts with public resources at the expense of majority citizens. About 54% of Zambians cannot eat 3 meals in a day due to high poverty levels, according to data from the World Bank. This, however, does not seem to concern some individuals, as the Financial Intelligence Center, FIC, reports that from January 2021 to date, the center has recorded suspicious cash deposits of 8.6 billion kwacha and immediate cash withdrawals of 8.5 billion kwacha. FIC Director Mary Chira was speaking on the national broadcaster during the Sunday interview. Ms. Chira further says reporting entities such as real estate companies, casinos, and car dealers have not been reporting individuals who have been spending suspicious amounts of money as the law stipulates.
From January to date, you have cash deposits on corporate accounts of 8.6 billion. I'm talking of cash.
8.6 billion.
8.6 billion. And then you have cash withdrawals of 8.5 billion.
So this money is not sitting in the bank.
It's not sitting in the bank. So we must know what is going on. Almost everything that is deposited is being withdrawn. Where is it going?
The FIC director explains that while the center has been releasing reports of illicit financial crimes, these reports seem not to be yielding any results and has called for the strengthening of all investigative agencies in the country.
We need to strengthen the value chain. We need to strengthen not only the Financial Intelligence Center, but the law enforcement agencies, the National Prosecution Authority, and the judiciary for us to be able to see results. Each one of us, Grevasio, where we sit as individual citizens, as people who are holding jobs in these offices, we have an obligation to make sure that Zambia's economy is improved so that we all at the end of the day benefit. If I want an increment in my salary today, I should be able to contribute to the Treasury so that the Treasury can be able to award that increment to the institution. So we all have an obligation.
She has further revealed that 10 accounts of individuals suspected to be engaging in corruption have been seized so far during the transition period. Zipporah Mushala, Camnet News, Lusaka.
Now, as the former ruling Patriotic Front undergoes what it's calling rebranding the process, its Secretary General Davis MWILA has stepped aside to go and pursue farming. Mr. MWILA was highly criticized for the PF loss in the August general elections by allegedly sidelining popular candidates, among them is Petauke Central Member of Parliament Emmanuel Banda. Mr. MWILA has to this effect offered to leave his position and venture into farming as part of the process to rebrand the party following its defeat to the UPND alliance. He told a media briefing that the party's president Edgar Lungu and national chairman Samuel Mukuba, who have also offered to leave their positions, will together with him remain members of the Central Committee. He says the party has since started the process of identifying people to take up the 3 positions, among the others, at the convention soon to be held. Meanwhile, Mr. MWILA has dispelled media reports suggesting that he was the mastermind behind a group of senior party members extorting money from markets while the party was in government. In other news, United Party for National Development, UPND National Spokesperson Cornelius Mwetwa says the appointment of FANWELL SIANDENGE as Deputy Inspector General of Police for special duties at State House is not a breach of the law, as it is being insinuated by some sectors of society. In August 2016, Mr. FANWELL SIANDENGE was charged with aggravated robbery in the company of 4 others. The UPND spokesperson, however, states that people insisting that his appointment is illegal should visit the Zambia Police Headquarters to conduct background research, as Mr. SIANDENGE currently has no active case of civil or criminal investigations before the courts of law.
Stakeholders like the Patriots for Economic Progress (PEP) have been questioning the appointment of FANWELL SIANDENGE as Deputy Inspector General of Police for special duties at State House, saying he is wanted by the police for aggravated robbery. Mr. SIANDENGE is one of the officials recently appointed by Republican President Hakainde Hichilema.
But to appoint someone who has an active arrest warrant is an abrogation of the law. It is an abrogation of the Constitution, and it undermines our country's criminal justice system. And the President sought to uphold the Constitution.
The United Party for National Development, UPND, however, have dismissed the claims, stating that Mr. SIANDENGE is clean before the law and has no active civil or criminal cases before the courts of law. UPND National Spokesperson Cornelius Mwetwa was speaking when addressing the media Monday.
The UPND legal team has been reliably informed that Mr. FANWELL SIANDENGE was properly appointed in his capacity as Commissioner of Police at State House without any breach of any rule of law. And therefore, because of the nature of the information that the UPND legal team has been furnished with, I wish to urge Mr. Sean Tembo and or any other such busybody to do due diligence before they can engage on matters of national consequence.
Mr. Mwetwa also says the party will not succumb to calls from some stakeholders for the Patriotic Front PF party to be deregistered due to high corruption allegations.
For goodness sake, the majority of members of parliament of the Patriotic Front in the House, they are new. So they cannot be held to account for what the wrongs those who were in the House did. So we want to put it very categorical. Those political pedestrians who want to create political identity by making political pronouncements that don't make democratic sense will not have our favor.
He has further called on citizens to exercise patience and wait for the president to announce his cabinet when he is ready, stating that there is need to work with competent and qualified people in order to carry out the government's development agenda effectively. Zipporah Mushala, Camnet News, Lusaka.
Meanwhile, United Party for National Development Alliance Media Director Tabo Kawana has charged that the former Republican President Edgar Lungu is not the right person to talk about uniting the country when he is on record of trying to divide the nation. Addressing the media Monday, Mr. Kawana says the Patriotic Front under the former president was intolerant to other ethnic groupings which the current government is trying to build. He adds that the President Hakainde Hichilema is on record of putting unity top of the agenda, hence wondering why the former president would offer such a directive. Sunday, 5th September 2021, former President Edgar Lungu said that the UPND government should do more to unite the country.
The One Zambia, One Nation motto, used as yardstick to unite the country, was once shaken at the hands of political players whose effect are still being felt now. This has put the word unity top of any person discouraging regionalism and promoting oneness. Sunday, Former President Edgar Lungu advised the newly formed government under the United Party for National Development to do more in uniting the country following the One Zambia, One Region cheer in Parliament last week.
I heard the remarks in Parliament like One Zambia, One Region, and that is worrying. It's a political statement, One Zambia, One Region, One Zambia, One Nation. If we see what's going on, we are worried. Seriously speaking, I think we should do more about the One Zambia, One Nation motto, ensure that it's seen in the practical implementation of policy-making decisions and also positioning of people. Right now I can tell you that there are people who are calling upon the government and the president to look again into his belief in the One Zambia, One Nation motto, because certain regions feel already ostracized. And I agree with the sentiments which were raised by Nakachinda that they can do better.
But this advice has not been received well by the United Alliance media director, who feels the former president has no right to speak of unity when he tolerated division, especially during campaigns by his party members. Addressing the media Monday, UPND Alliance media director says the UPND is on record promoting peace regardless of one's region.
Regions in this country, people got tired in national interest from everywhere, from all public sector places, whether it's immigration, whether it's ZESCO, whether it's ZNBC, wherever you went in the public sector, people from 3 regions were seriously discriminated against and retired in national interest. Some as young as 28 years old retired in national interest, all because of that ostracism that you and your leadership practiced. So it is good that you lay low so that you allow for us as a people to heal. Because now we have a president who's giving us healing messages and he's moving the country forward and he's uniting and reuniting the people so that we don't look at what happened in the past. So don't come on our cameras and remind us of what you did in the recent past. It is best we keep our respect for you and you keep your respect for us.
Meanwhile, Mr. Kawana has urged the members of the public to exercise patience and allow the president to appoint the right people in cabinet.
You get the wrong people, you get the wrong results. You put the wrong people in office, you get the wrong result. So it is not a thing that you want really to rush. You want to take your time to scrutinize every person that you give an opportunity to serve the people of Zambia so that you have the correct people in the correct offices. Not be in a hurry, let's give him chance, but we know that now, anytime soon, even today, there may be announcement of the cabinet because really he has taken time to look at the kind of people that is going to appoint. When you appoint Chipante Pante, this is where you find the minister, instead of looking after the poor by giving them social cash transfer.
Alex Shimba, Camnet News, Lusaka.
A social scientist, Innocent Kolala, says election petitions are part of the democratic process, but that they may lead to costly by-elections. This follows wide comments that the country risks spending more money on by-elections at the expense of other sectors of the economy. Meanwhile, our Civic Duty Association, or SIDA, Executive Secretary Simon Kalolo Kabanda insists that the only solution to end the parliamentary petitions is to have an independent electoral commission. Mr. Kabanda also adds that there is need to make constitutional amendments to change the electoral system by enhancing mixed member proportion representation.
Despite being a good governance philosophy, democracy is expensive. Putting up an election or referendum is a costly undertaking. For a country like Zambia, it means holding elections every after 5 years. But before that, the country has in the past witnessed a high number of by-elections, costing the country resources which could be used to other developmental needs. The trend is likely to continue because there are more petitions before the courts of law, standing at about 77 seats at the parliamentary level.
We should adopt an electoral system that avoids by-elections. And in this regard, I wish to appeal to ourselves as a nation that we should introduce the proportional representation electoral system, because in this system we will not be experiencing by-elections.
Social scientist Innocent Kolala says despite it being their democratic right, it will be a costly venture.
Now, what does that entail? What it entails is that, especially that is the ruling political party which has petitioned, it entails that if they win these petitions, they are going to reduce the voice in the House. And when they reduce the voice in the House, that is in Parliament, then the people's voice in most areas of the country will be disadvantaged. And of course, democracy is going to be raped. These are the issues which we always talk about. Of course, maybe they could have been trying to take advantage of being a ruling political party. Henceforth, they need to petition, who knows, because now they are in power, they are going to use incumbency to ensure that they are voted into office.
He feels it was not necessary for those who lost with a huge margin to petition the election.
Much resources is going to be spent on such by-election. Such resources which are supposed to be used in trying to accelerate the development of this country, in trying to build the economy of this country. But such won't happen because democratically we are supposed to go for an election, because that's what you and I, the Zambian people, we have put in the constitution. Henceforth, for those who might have, of course, been aggrieved, they need to think twice as they are taking the matter to court. In terms of the government costs, not only the government cost, ultimately, of course, when these they come to, of course, to their advantage, then not only that, they should think of the democracy of this country.
Going forward, there is a need to create a level political playing field and adequately enforce the Electoral Code of Conduct, especially by the Zambia Police and the Electoral Commission of Zambia, ECZ. Patrick Soko, Camnet News in Lusaka.
The Lusaka High Court has struck out the contempt proceedings that was issued against Forum for Democracy and Development leader Edith Nawakwi in May 2021, following her allegations that former workers of Anglo-American were not paid their dues before their transition in 2000, while the case is pending determination. This follows the failure by the complainant to attend court sessions. In May this year, the court allowed the American Life Financial Services Limited to commence contempt of court proceedings against Ms. Nawakwi. Africa Life Financial Services Limited asked the court to commit Nawakwi to prison for misrepresentation of facts when she alleged that it was liable to pay its former employees $300,000 United States when the matter was still active before the court. This is in a matter where Dixon Mtonga and 22 other security guards sued African Life Financial Services Limited in 2014, demanding $300,000 United States salary arrears and terminal benefits owed to them following their transfers. Still in court, a suspected United Party for National Development cadre of Lusaka's Kanyama Mtandabantu area has been dragged to court for allegedly assaulting Matero Member of Parliament Mao Sampa and two others. This is in a matter in which Bowden Shaloba, 45, a businessman, stands charged with 1 count of being in possession of offensive weapons and 3 counts of unlawful wounding, contrary to the laws of Zambia. Shaloba is accused of attacking Mr. Sampa on the 12th of August 2021 and hitting him with an axe. However, the accused, who appeared before Magistrate Sanford Ngobola Monday morning, pleaded not guilty to the charges. Miriam Kaimba filed this report.
Bowden Shaloba, the man accused of assaulting Matero Area Member of Parliament Mao Sampa and 2 others during the 12th August 2021 general elections, appeared before the Lusaka's Magistrate Court Monday morning and pleaded not guilty to 3 counts of unlawful wounding, contrary to Section 232 of the Penal Code, before Magistrate Sanford Ngobola. Allegations in the 2nd, 3rd and 4th count is that Shaloba unlawfully wounded Mr. Sampa, his bodyguard Gilbert Banda and Kelvin Piri. The 45-year-old accused, who is also a businessman, is however, in the 1st count, charged with being in possession of offensive weapons or materials contrary to Section 85 of the Penal Code, Chapter 87 of the laws of Zambia. Allegations are that on the 12th of August 2021, jointly and whilst acting together with other persons unknown without lawful authority or excuse, had in his possession offensive weapons, namely a pistol, a machete, and an axe. Shalowa, who is a resident of Lusaka's Kanyama Mtandabantu compound, however, failed to take plea in this charge as it needs consent from the Director of Public Prosecutions. According to the statement issued by the police, is that during the election day, around 17 hours, Mr. Sampa, together with his bodyguard Gilbert Banda, were attacked by a group of suspected political cadres who were armed. The matter has been adjourned to the 12th of October 2021 for possible plea in the first count, where Shalowa is charged with being in possession of offensive weapons and commencement of trial for the other 3 charges, where he is accused of unlawful wounding. Miriam Kemba, reporting for Camnet TV News.
You're watching Camnet News. We take our first set of commercials. When we return, we have more interesting stories. Don't go away.
From time immemorial, we have had different types of lighting options, from those that can burn down our investments in minutes to those that dig holes in our pockets due to constant replacement and huge consumption of our ZESCO units. Savenda Electric introduces the new and advanced electric bulb with cutting-edge technology of LED that has low power consumption, gives out bright white light, and lasts up to 25,000 hours. Savenda Electric manufactures all types of LED light, like plastic LED fluorescent tubes, down lights, ceiling lights, outdoor fittings, and solar street lights made to customer specifications. Let's live on the bright side of life by choosing the wide range of Savenda electric lighting solutions that are available in all leading stores and supermarkets countrywide. For orders, call 0962 642 490 or email jnbunda@savenda.com or pchabula@savenda.com.
Would you like to win some cool cash? Say no more. Stand a chance to win your share of 1 million kwacha. Simply make a transaction from your Zamtel mobile money account and you could be one of weekly winners of up to 10,000 kwacha. Be empowered with Zamtel mobile money. Dial *344# to activate your account. This promotion runs from 28th July to 31st October 2021. Zamtel, your digital lifestyle partner.
Africa is rising to a new dawn of integrity and accountability. Are you tired of being swindled or buying fake or illegal properties? Would you like to sell or buy genuine property? Would you like to list your property on both local and international market? Don't waste your time. Call the professionals, the SGK Properties, on +260 762 166 018. SGK Properties. Your business assurance is our priority.
Welcome back. Thank you for staying on. The Zambia Congress of Trade Unions says investment in alternative revenue generation ventures is crucial for the labor movement to reduce over-dependence on member contributions. ZCTU Secretary General Cosmas Mukoka made these remarks when he officiated at a bilateral workshop between the Zambia National Union of Teachers and the Nigerian Union of Teachers in Lusaka Monday. Mr. Mukoka is confident that the two unions will share ideas on how to steer quality education in the wake of the COVID-19 and better the lives of teachers beyond retirement.
Solidarity forever, for the union makes us strong.
It is indeed solidarity forever as the labor movement breaks barriers and living by the concept of the world being a global village. The Zambia National Union of Teachers is hosting the Nigeria Union of Teachers in Lusaka for 2 days in a bilateral meeting aimed at sharing ideas to better the education sector, especially the plight of teachers. The meeting seeks to address issues pertaining to the COVID-19 pandemic in relation to the education sector, social security for workers, and trade union-led investments, among other critical issues. Nigeria Union of Teachers Deputy Secretary General Bello Agangu hailed Zambia for coming out of the general election peacefully and expressed confidence that the meeting will help provide solutions to the challenges in the education sector.
Which also encompasses investment. We have such institutions in Nigeria, and we believe you have them here, who we have had, and we want to interact and intermingle and mingle. What did the someone say? Socialize. Socialize. Yes, so by so doing, we would like to have a way forward by also interacting in knowing the way you invest, the way you go about it, how people are subscribed, and how far have they succeeded after retirement.
James Kasisi is the Zambia National Union of Teachers president.
From one another, we will be able to have food for thought. What is it that we're going to do to make our union stand for the rest of the period? If we have no investment, some funny government might one day just decide not to give us the subscription. Or members might decide otherwise, not giving us the subscription. What happens to us? It means that will be the end of that particular union.
And officiating the event, Zambia Congress of Trade Unions ZCTU Secretary General Cosmas Mukuka commended the two unions for coming together to share ideas and is optimistic that issues of investment and social security for workers will be adequately attended to.
Thank you very much. So, it is for this reason that I must commend you, especially the organizers of this interaction, for bringing together the teachers of two different countries. The importance of investment, which you have heard from the President, can also go without me commenting on it, because the investment by trade union organizations, especially in the teaching fraternity, is very, very important. The social security in trade union is also important. Let us learn ideas from Nigeria to see how best we can invest in social security.
4 + 4 equals 8.
Patrick Soko, Camnet News in Lusaka.
Several teachers were recruited under replacement basis of called on government to argue their case as they are not yet on the payroll. Speaking at a press briefing Monday where over 3,000 teachers were represented, Boyd MWILA says they have no assurance when they are going to be put on the payroll, hence calling on the new government to look into their plight.
Over 3,000 teachers who were deployed last year and early this year as replacements have appealed to government to argue their case over not being put on payroll. Disclosing in a press briefing and representing other teachers, Boyd MWILA says the Teaching Service Commission has for a long time taken them for granted by not putting them on payroll.
We are representing teachers that were deployed on the replacement. So, according to what was actually given to us, we were given jobs, okay, and we applied for these jobs. We were given the letters, deployment letters. We reported to our various stations, and after reporting, we were told to say, you have to wait until you are put on payroll. Others, they started working. Unfortunately, this issue of not being put on payroll, it has really taken long, and we have no assurance of when we are going to be put on payroll. So please, we are seeking for your intervention as the new government we want, because the teaching service has taken us for granted.
Mr. MWILA has added that teachers are a result of children having good education.
We cannot continue like this. People have been traumatized, people have been actually dumped, and we don't know the way forward. The statements that Teaching Service Commission gave, there is no assurance of us when we are going to be put on payroll. So while we are demanding, we want to be put on payroll. We want to be put on payroll. We are representing 3,000 plus teachers countrywide. It's a national problem. This has not been actually addressed, so we want to be addressed, and we want to be assured that each and every teacher that was deployed, we want them to be put on payroll. How do you deploy people and you cannot put them on payroll? It is not fair. Government, we know that you have the power and we have the mandate to do this, so we are demanding to be put on the payroll.
Speaking at the same event, one of the affected teachers, Paul Mbewe, has stipulated that they are ready to serve the nation through the teaching profession.
These teachers have waited, others for over 1 year and 6 months without being put on payroll. So all what they want is to know when the government is going to put them on payroll. These teachers are saying we are tired. These teachers are saying we are tired, enough is enough. They've suffered, they feel to be neglected, they've been mocked by the society. So all what they want is to know when government is going to place them on payroll.
Their expectation is that government gives them a date when they'll be put on payroll. Blessings Chakwila, Camnet News, Lusaka.
The Operation Young Vote has described the unauthorization importation of more than 10,000 COVID-19 vaccine doses illegally into the country by Charisma earth-moving equipment as genocide and crime against humanity, which must not be treated with kid gloves. Organization Executive Director Ges Nyirenda alleges that the quick move to destroy the unauthorized consignment of the COVID-19 vaccines by Zamra is suspicious as it amounts to concealing evidence. And Mr. Nyirenda has wondered why Zamra could justify that the importer is remorseful without any due process of the law taking root. He has therefore demanded that government institutes legal proceedings against the importers and Zamra.
We cannot have such amount of drugs imported illegally and also destroyed very quickly. This is destroying evidence of an illegality, and also the institution that is mandated to see what goes into the environment, the Zema in this case, should have known what is happening. But it seems Zamra destroyed these things without the consent of Zema. We must know really what is happening. So it is seemingly that they are belittling and also cheapening this catastrophic scheme. For us, it's worrying, and it must really be investigated. There's no way Zamra will only tell us that no, the importer is now remorseful without even the due process of the law taking root. I mean, that's uncalled for, that's unacceptable. That is actually perpetuating criminality and lawlessness in the country. And we call upon the New Dawn government to really quickly move in and investigate this particular issue. We cannot have citizens because they are desperate, because they are vulnerable, to be exposed to such stuff. Remember, in the PF regime, they were exposed to defective condoms, but also drugs that were expired. We cannot continue to have lives of citizens threatened by individuals that want to be rich forever. It's uncalled for and it must be stopped.
The Ministry of Health has procured 129,600 COVID-19 vaccination doses of Johnson & Johnson single-dose shot from the African Vaccine Acquisition Trust, AVAT. Speaking when receiving the consignment at Kenneth Kaunda International Airport Monday, Ministry Permanent Secretary Dr. Kennedy Malama says this is a step forward for the country and like the usual trend of receiving donations. He states that the country is expected to continue receiving similar consignments which the country will procure through AVIT. You're watching Camnet News. We take another set of commercials. Stay with us.
Your skin is the biggest muscle in your body. That's why we make sure that Oracle is #1 when it comes to taking care of your precious skin. Oracle Pure Petroleum Jelly and Glycerin soothes, moisturizes and keeps your skin perfect. Oracle Pure Petroleum products for that perfect skin.
In this fast-paced era of industrial boom and population growth, there is need to invest in smart ways of managing electricity and water consumption and reducing utility billing costs associated with the postpaid billing system. At Savenda Electronics, we manufacture right here in Zambia different types of high-quality smart electricity and water meters to customer specifications. Savenda Electronics water and electricity meters help you monitor your usage and gives notifications such as low units, tampering, low battery, and many other features. These easy-to-use meters makes it easier to buy units even in these COVID times and top up just from the comfort of your space. Favorable contract terms are available to both electricity and water utilities. For more details, get in touch with us on the following numbers: 0956 580 349 or 0977 498 318. Savenda Electronics, the real deal.
The Camnet October Conference is fast approaching. To participate in the forthcoming conference, you're required to book your seat by paying 750 kwacha per person per day. Date 1st and 2nd October 2021. Venue The Healing Word Ministries International in Ibex Hill. Guest speakers include Professor Reda, Professor Munkumba, Mr. Nkuruma Kalaluka, Dr. Musonda, Dr. Sitima, Anthony from USA, Dr. Mwale, Honorable Bob Sichinga, Elias Bondela, and your hosts, Pastors Victoria and Moses Chiluba.
You can also participate via Zoom at 300 kwacha per day.
Make your payments through mobile money. For MTN, 096 296 5883. For Airtel, 097 975 3010. Our banking details are 913 000 182 5325. Stanbic Bank, Kablonga Branch.
For those living abroad, make payments via Wild Remit. The deadline for payments will be 28 September 2021. Any late payment made after 28 September will attract a penalty fee of 200 kwacha per person.
Welcome back. In international news, the coronavirus pandemic is casting a shadow over campaigning ahead of the general elections in Morocco. People will vote on Wednesday, with restrictions banning large gatherings still in place. Political parties in Morocco are limited to holding small street canvassing as they seek support ahead of Wednesday's election. Morocco has dealt with the pandemic far better than many countries. It currently has the highest vaccination rate in Africa, but COVID-19 is still a threat. While the economy is gradually recovering, there is no doubt that the COVID-19 will be a significant factor on how people will vote on Wednesday. In other news, the Taliban has taken complete control of Panjshir province, the last area in Afghanistan held by resistance forces, says a group spokesperson, Zubihullah Mahajid. Here is a roundup of international stories.
With restrictions banning large-scale gatherings still in place, political parties in Morocco are limited to holding small street-to-street canvasses as they vie for support ahead of Wednesday's elections. This year's polls are very different to previous ones. Election billboards are few and far between, there have been no big rallies, and there's an evident lack of excitement amongst many Moroccans. Much of this is down to the impact COVID has had on the country, particularly its economy.
There's no doubt the pandemic will impact these elections in their entirety. There won't just be large-scale protest voting, but I also expect many people will choose to abstain because this pandemic has dented the people's confidence in the political process.
Morocco is currently trying to stave off another wave of the virus. And although it's done much better than its neighbors in combating COVID in terms of hospitalizations, its economy, particularly the tourism and hospitality sectors, have been hit hard. At this coffee shop in the Al Wolfa area of Casablanca, business is slowly picking up. But the owner tells me there's still a long, long way to go.
I used to employ 11 people. I had to let 9 go because of the pandemic. I have lost around 80% of my business.
With the national curfew banning people from going outdoors after 9 p.m., it's businesses like these that have suffered the most, as they're unable to make money during peak times when coffee shops are usually at their busiest.
All the decisions the government took have been destructive to businesses. We expected them to introduce policies that would ease things for us, but they didn't. So my vote will be a protest one.
The government supporters, however, will point to the fact that more than 40% of the population have now been vaccinated, and that whilst businesses have suffered, it's restrictions that have helped save people's lives. But in the end of the day, many voters cast their ballots based on how good or bad the economy is doing. This is the first time that Hisham will be old enough to vote. He makes a living washing cars at this small garage in one of Casablanca's suburbs. He makes roughly just over $2 a day. He says he hasn't decided who to vote for yet, but has a simple request from those seeking power.
I wish they look at what the people need. They need to address not only the pandemic, but the economy as a whole. We all want the best for our country.
Morocco has dealt with the pandemic far better than many countries. It currently has the highest vaccination rate in all of Africa. But COVID is still a threat. And whilst the economy is gradually recovering and streets and markets like these are getting busier, there's no doubt that the coronavirus pandemic will be a major factor when Moroccans come to vote on Wednesday.
We begin with breaking news out of Afghanistan, where Taliban forces now say they've taken complete control of the Panjshir Valley, the only region that had been resisting their rule. Battles have been raging for days in the mountainous area north of the capital, Kabul. Well, let's speak to Charles Stratford. He joins us live from Kabul. Charlie, so the Taliban have made this claim before, haven't they? Only for it to be refuted by the armed resistance. What more can you tell us?
That's right, Darren, but this time it does seem to be different. This is an official statement made by the official spokesperson for the Taliban, Zabihullah Mujahid. He released a statement to a local TV station a couple of hours ago. I'll read that statement out. He said, "By the grace of God the Almighty and the support of the nation, final efforts for the full security of the nation have borne fruit, and we have fully captured the entire province of Panjshir." Now, this comes a few hours after last night we had a Facebook statement made by the leader of the NRF, Ahmed Massoud. As you say, after days of fighting, Massoud saying that he wanted to negotiate with the Taliban. He wanted to stop the fighting and talk. We know that there had been days of failed negotiations, and that's what obviously sparked this battle. So this time it does seem to be different. Also, interestingly, Zabihullah Mujahid has tweeted in the last few minutes, we understand. He says that in that tweet, Panjshir province was the last nest of the enemy, and it has been conquered completely. So, yeah, some very solid statements being made by the Taliban. Nothing in response to that from the NRF. We know that communication out of the valley has been very difficult in recent days. All telecommunication has been blocked by the Taliban, electricity too. But if indeed this is fact, then it is unequivocally a historical moment for the Taliban, because of course they never managed to control that valley ever.
We now look at sports news. Polo coach BESTON CHAMBESHI has called on the soccer fans to believe in the team despite Patson Daga and Enoch Mwepo not participating in the game against Tunisia. Disclosing this through a media briefing, Ms. CHAMBESHI has since encouraged the boys to believe in themselves in displaying different talents.
The Confederation of African Football has reportedly granted Zambia permission to allow 5,000 fans to witness tomorrow's game, where Zambia will host Tunisia in a World Cup Group B qualifier match to be played in Dola. Disclosing in a media briefing, senior interim national football coach BESTON CHAMBESHI has called on the soccer fans to have faith in the boys as they play Tunisia tomorrow. CHAMBESHI has urged soccer fans to trust his lineup, adding that the boys should also believe in themselves.
The problem we're having, because we have got each and every soccer fan has got his own lineup. But get my lineup, then we will move forward together. But if you have got your own lineup, it will be difficult for me. That's why we start now. But if you like the way you have come here, you have come to listen from me. But don't come with something else that my team is this and that. But we will support you guys. We move in the. We work like a team. You press women. You have to work as a team. So get the lineup from me. Don't make your own lineup, please. Then that way you even have that confidence because you are getting it from me. But for sure.
He has also appealed to the boys to work extra hard so as to qualify for the World Cup.
We have prepared well. It's true they are a good team, Tunisia, but all what we told the boys just to believe in ourselves. If they can do it away from home, why not at home? So for sure we have to respect Tunisia and they have to respect us too on the pitch. But we'll continue psyching the boys and they have to believe in themselves. Football, I always say there's always where to start from. And if you start at this level where we are, especially at the World Cup level, then what else do you want in football? There's no way we can start at Kosafa. We have to start at that level as a young boy. So all what they need is just to believe. And I'm sure.
Zambia opened their quest for the World Cup qualification with an away match in Mauritania on the 3rd of September 2021, of which they will play Tunisia tomorrow. Blessings Chakwila, Camnet Sports, Lusaka.
Well, that's where we wrap it up for news this evening. The headlines once again. Patriotic Front Secretary General Davis MWILA steps down to focus on farming. UPND justifies the appointment of FANWELL SIANDENGE as Deputy Police IG for special duties. Government urged to look into the plight of local contractors. In international news, economy, pandemic overshadow Morocco's election campaign. And in sports news, BESTON CHAMBESHI confident the boys will perform well in Tuesday's encounter. We'll now look at the Camnet verse of the day, and it's coming from John 6, verse 35, and it reads, I am the bread of life, Jesus taught them. No one who comes to me will ever be hungry, and no one who believes in me will ever be thirsty again. Thank you so much for joining us. My name is Sharon Kalimbola. Remember to observe the COVID-19 health guidelines and stop the spread of the virus. Good night.